So in this file, I just have the person that I created, and I'm going to show you some other things that you can animate. As we've seen, we can already constrain something to a path and it will move for us. And one of the great things about a path is, and I use them all the time rather than manually moving something, because it's a lot easier for the path to get the timing right than it is for you. And I say that because if I move, so this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to change this to, let's do 300 just so we have enough frames in here. Okay, so I'm going to start with 300 frames. So I'm going to move this character. I'm going to turn on down here. Make sure you guys can see this in the bottom. Okay, I think you got it. All right, so down here, auto key, turn that on. Right now it's recording. And I'm going to set the keyframes. And I always, no matter what, when I start off at frame 0 and I have a new character or object I'm animating, I automatically go ahead and click on the plus button that says set keys, and that is called setting a keyframe. So when I click on that, I am setting a keyframe. And what it does is it tells 3D Studio Max this is the start place for what I'm about to do. If you don't do these set keys as the default, it will start from 0 no matter what you do. So if you're doing a bunch of stuff and you get to frame 100 and then you want your character or your object to do something else, and at frame 101 you don't set a new keyframe for it to start to reset to 0 in its mind for what it's doing, it will go all the way back to the 0 keyframe right there. Okay? And I'll show you, I'm going to do this so you can see what I'm talking about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the character. So I've set a keyframe, and I'm going to move the character at frame 30 to here. Okay, so moves that far and then stops. All right, so at frame 50, what I want him to do is move to that point, stop, pause, and then rotate in that direction. That's what I want to have happen. But because I did not set a keyframe at frame 49, it's going to cause him to rotate the entire time. It's going to start the rotation back here at 0 and go to 50. Watch. What you'll see here. See, he's moving while he's rotating while he's moving. That wasn't what I wanted. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here, and you can move these or you can delete them. Delete all. So I'm going to delete that. Okay, so I want him to move here. I want him to pause for a second. And then at frame 50, I want him to rotate. So at frame 49, I am going to come over here and set a keyframe by hitting the set keys key. We're telling it up to that point, he's only moving. And now at the next frame, he's going to rotate. And it'll be rather abrupt because I did that in one frame. Okay, so that now when I play this back, he moves, then rotates. Actually flips, cut quickly. Now I'll show you how to fix that. So say I did this and I'm like, oh no, that wasn't enough. So I can come here on my keyframe on keyframe 50 and click, and you see it changes to a double arrow. I can slide that over. Say I want him to move a little more slowly, so I move it to frame 10. And now, when I play this out, he moves a little more slowly. So you can always shift these around. Okay, so now that he's moved, I'm going to give him a little bit of space. Now, this takes years of practice to get really good at. And even I'm not that great at it. But what I will tell you is that you want to give people time to process what they're seeing before your character does something else. If you move things too quickly, people won't be able to keep up with you. It will make them exhausted and they will give up trying. So you always want to take pauses and breaks in between doing one thing and doing the next thing, just to give people time to absorb what they see. Also, I almost never, I mean, here we started off at 0 and had him move right away. Almost never do that. I usually give people at least 20 frames to sort of take a look around and see what they see before there's any action going on. All right, so now we're going to say we're going to go up to 65. He's had enough time to kind of figure out where he's going. And we've had enough time to see that he's turned. And I'm going to set another keyframe. And then I'm going to move my character forward. And then around there, I'll set another keyframe. And this is just arbitrary at this point. And then he's going to rotate again. And then I'm going to move him again after I set another keyframe. And then set another keyframe. And then he's going to rotate again. Okay, and so when I play this back, see, he moves and makes these steps and these incremental steps. Okay, I'm going to turn this off. See when I don't select the character, he's unselected, there are no keyframes showing up down here. And that is because the keyframes are unique to each character. Those are his keyframes. You can come down here and supposed to be able to select them all. Move this out of the way. All right, well, you can select one and hold down your control key and select multiples. Okay, so I've got him doing this weird little thing, weird little ritual, and I've come and I've selected all his keyframes. I can hold down the shift key and duplicate them. So that way you can do repetitions identically to what you did before. And if you don't want them to be identical, I can come in here and move, whoops, they're all selected. Oops, sorry about that. I can come in here and move some of them a little bit. They're still all selected. There we go. Move some of them a little bit just to make it not perfectly identical if that's what I want. Just shift them off. And so then I don't end up with a humanoid robot, but I end up with a human that's doing the same thing, but a little differently each time. Unless you want it to be identical, and then you can leave it as identical. Now, it did reset him back to 0, so really I would have wanted him to get her all the way around in a complete loop. But he does the same thing, again, just a little differently than before. Okay. All right. I could copy all of these, but it's not letting me. All right, well, let's just do this. I'm not going to save this. And I'm just going to reopen my person. Okay, so we have a brand new Okay, so you can animate, so I've showed you that you can select and move and select and rotate. You can animate that. You can also auto key, set key, animate, scale. Okay, so when I play this, it's sort of like an Alice in Wonderland kind of thing. So you can animate scaling things. Okay. I'm going to tail editor, and I'm going to attach this sphere to that person, show it, change the color. Now, because I have these keyframes down here, I can work in harmony with them if I want. So what I'm going to do is I've given him a color, and at the point that he grows, he's going to change from here to here to, I'm going to change the color, turn on auto key, turn on auto key so that it's on, and I'm going to change the color. So he's going to slowly change from this color to this color as he grows, and then he's going to change to, as he shrinks, to that color. And then as he grows again, okay, and then I turn that off. And so I was able to animate, watch the sphere, and here you can see too. I was able to animate this. You can animate a lot of things in 3D Studio Max. There's very few things that you can't animate. You can't change the maps, but you can animate almost everything. The red brackets around the box show that it is animatable, and in this case has been animated. So all these things can be animated. All right, so watch what happens when we play this back. And because I could see where he was getting biggest and where he was getting smallest, I could go to those points and animate in harmony with the shrinking and the growing. Pretty cool. Okay, I am going to stop here and we will continue in the next video.